Hello everyone, ExoParadigmGamer here. Even though I've owned a Sega Genesis for quite some time, there's a certain tree of classics I've just never gotten around to. Yes folks, I'm going to be talking about Streets of Rage. And these games get totally unreal praise from video game critics and Genesis fans alike as being some of the greatest side-scrolling beat-em-ups in video game history. And even though I'm not a fan of the genre myself, I figured I'd give these games the look and playthrough they deserve. So, without further ado, hey! Well. If it isn't Mistertitanic, what the hell are you doing in my video? What are you talking about? This is my game room, and this is my YouTube channel. Oh yeah, no, I felt something seemed off today. Get the heck out of here. Are you playing Streets of Rage? Yeah, I've heard it's really good. Why? You're reviewing one of my all-time favorite Genesis games, and you didn't tell me? Really? It's that good, huh? Wanna play with me? Well, it is kinda my game room, and it's my TV, too. Yeah, cup of squat. Come on, grab your favorite drink, grab your controller. It's time to play some Streets of Rage. So, what exactly is the plot of this game? Glad you asked. Let's look at the fancy schmancy introduction.
Yes, folks, it may seem commonplace now, but back in the 90s, this was a rare treat. The game is
Presumably
set in Wood Oak City, a city ravaged by an evil crime syndicate led by the despicable Mr. X.
So, let me guess. Mr. X conquered the city by hosting a worldwide robotics competition, and reprogrammed the likes of Yamato Man and Centaur Man to do his bidding.
No, not that Mr. X. This one is
Presumably
Japanese.
Okay.
Seeing the atrocities committed by this evil organization, a trio of ex-police officers have pledged to rid the streets of the criminal menace and restore peace to the city. Streets of Rage was released by Sega in 1991 for the Sega Mega Drive. It was even ported over to the Game Gear and the Sega Master System.
So, what exactly makes this game such an undisputed classic? Again, glad you asked.
For me, it's the simple yet satisfying beat-em-up action. It doesn't try to be anything more than it is, and does what it does extremely well. There's nothing quite as satisfying as jump-kicking a mook, grabbing him and throwing him over your shoulder.
So, admittedly, that's kind of why I've steered clear of the genre for so long. I mean, it always seemed kind of repetitive for my tastes. You know, I'm not exactly a beat-em-up guy either, but this game really has a certain charm that few others can claim. You really have to experience it firsthand to see what I mean, though. Alright, let's give it a shot.
So we have three characters, Adam Hunter, Blaze Fielding, and Axel Stone. What exactly is different about him?
Adam is the slowest of the three, but he's also got good power and a high jump. Axel's faster than Adam, equal power but a terrible jump. Blaze is the fastest, has a high jump power, but her attacks don't quite pack as hard of a punch. Overall, I'd recommend using Blaze if you're playing alone, or for the first time. I find the game plays better with a faster character. I almost never play as Adam. In the end, it's all a personal preference, really.
Alright, I'll pick Blaze.
And I'll take Axel. You see, the first level gets you familiar with the controls. Axel and Blaze just make a straight shot through a touristy district full of business and bright flashy lights.
Wait, Pine Pot? What the hell kind of store would call themselves that? I mean, the windows are even too reflective to see what's inside.
Focus on the enemies, man, the enemies! The controls are simple. The B button is your standard attack button. The C button allows you to jump. Combined with the D-pad, you can unleash an astonishing variety of moves. You can punch, jump kick, throw your enemies, and pile drive them into the ground, just to name a few moves.
Guess the box wasn't kidding when it boasts of having over 40 attacks.
No kidding. The A button is just a screen nuke. One of your vigilante buddies will shoot a barrage of bullets that'll kill any mook on screen. Besides bosses, of course.
Is that a bottle?
Oh yeah, you can pick him up, smash him over a mook's head, and then stab him to death with it. Isn't that great?
Hey, a pipe. Cool. This is so much more effective than punching enemies to death.
Only thing is, if you drop it too many times, it'll disappear into thin air. There's also a knife, a baseball bat, and an abysmally useless pepper bomb. Seriously, trying to hit enemies with this thing is a total crapshoot. And even if you do manage to hit them, they start moving immediately after you punch them just once. And most of the mooks die in one combo chain anyway, so what's the point?
I mean, the graphics aren't exactly anything special. I mean, like, they're certainly colorful, don't get me wrong, but there's something about the animations that just feels a little stiff, and the shading isn't quite within my aesthetic taste. You know, this is an earlier released Genesis game anyway, compared to other games released earlier or around the same time, like Revenge of Shinobi or Ghouls and Ghosts. It looks really damn good, and yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, man, I'm really digging this soundtrack. I know, it's another reason why I love this game so much.
Streets of Rage was composed by Yuzo Koshiro, of Shinobi fame. This game uses a high-quality sound driver that,
Presumably,
boosts the instrument quality higher than that of most other Genesis games. Each and every track in this game, from the 8 stage themes, the boss theme, the fantastic intro piece, and the ending theme are extremely catchy and memorable. It really pumps you up and gets you into the action. This is the sort of game music that you find yourself humming long after the power switch has been turned off.
I agree. I wasn't so keen on it at first, but the more I listen to it, the more I find it stuck in my head. One of the things about Genesis games in general that kind of turns me off is that raspy and gritty sound font, but Streets of Rage hardly sounds like a Genesis soundtrack at all. Seriously, give it a listen sometime if you haven't already.
Get ready for the boss!
Oh, look, it's just a couple of tall pirate-looking mooks with boomerangs.
Now's the time for you to use your screen nuke. You lose them if you die, so always use them when you're on the verge of death.
Yeah, take that, mofos!
wow. I don't know why, but I really dig that jingle.
The other levels all have their own look and feel. The second brings you to the gang-ridden alleyways of the city.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. No tourists here, I'd wager.
Oh god, the jugglers. They're such a pain in the buttocks to hit them without getting yourself bludgeoned in the face with an axe.
Yeah, but at least there's something to them. The mooks in this game aren't exactly all that interesting to fight. There isn't even that great of a variety. You've got the garden variety leather jacket mooks, dominatrices with whips, these yellow jacket wearing mooks that look like Jubilee from X-Men, a few kung fu masters, these jugglers we just mentioned, and these assholes that literally just charge at you holding a knife. There isn't even that much of a difference in strategy in how you defeat them. You just punch them till they drop dead.
In the game's defense, this is an early released 16-bit beat-em-up. It's got more variety than games like Double Dragon or Turtles in Time. In those games, you can literally do nothing but punch, it seems. Here, there's at least a bigger variety of moves. The combat's more about experimenting with your moveset than necessarily being strategic.
I still would have liked to see them require certain moves to take down particular enemies. The only exception are the Black Whip dominatrices, which you have to pile drive or throw in order to take down. All the others can be punched to death. It doesn't ruin the game by any stretch of the imagination, but I think the game could have been even better if more strategy was implemented into the combat.
Let's agree to disagree. Look, here comes the boss.
Wolverine? First Mr. X, then Jubilee, and now Wolverine? What is this, a big X-Men reunion?
These guys aren't too hard. Just use your screen nukes. Shave the rest of their health away with combos.
So, what's next?
Blaze and Axel now exit the alleyways and find themselves in the less popular side of the beach, far from the reach of commercialism, where the syndicate has infested the shore with plastic bags and soda can litter. Global warming has also caused sporadic rain squalls to randomly fall every 30 seconds.
What's the deal with these apples and turkeys?
They're health power-ups. Apples heal about a quarter of your health, and the beef, yeah, that's what the manual calls it, heals all of your health. As to why they're hidden in big piles of tires and phone booths and garbage cans, I have no idea. It also plays a similar Pac-Man sound.
Hey, here comes the third stage boss. And it's a couple of muscle-bound barbarians. What's really annoying about these guys is that they like to rush at you from off-screen and knock your block off. If you can time it just right, you can punch them before they hit you.
Yeah, we're better off using our screen nukes. Down they go. Axel and Blaze now make their way across an unfinished bridge leading up to the harbor. Along the way, their enemies fight with renewed fervor. You can tell, because they've all changed colors.
Unfinished is an understatement. There are open sections all over this bridge. Fall in and you die. Luckily, the same thing goes for the enemies. Kick them in and make your life so much easier. Alright, made it to the boss.
Oh, goodness.
What? It's just a couple of overweight bald guys in britches. Oh my god, they can breathe fire. It's a pain in the ass to hit them because they just charge across the screen, and because they're breathing fire at you, you somehow have to get behind them and hit them.
Yeah, I recommend using your screen nukes here as well.
What are you doing?
Celebrating! Moving on to my favorite level. Our heroes exit the bridge onto a large ferry boat crossing the disgusting city harbor. I bet this is where Mr. X dumps his bodies. Despicable.
Yeah, at this point, the level design's starting to run out of steam.
What? What do you mean? It's just as fun as it was in level 1.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. All the levels are just straight shots from left to right. With the exception of the pits and the bridge level, there really aren't any stage hazards or anything to really differentiate them. It's almost purely a cosmetic change. At least the soundtrack keeps me immersed in the game, and I do kind of like that bobbing effect.
You've got to love the fact that the police vehicle somehow found a way to drive onto the ship.
What is this, Curious George the movie? Hey look, the Barbarian came back as a mini-boss. Yeah, well, at least there's only one of them. Alright, time for the real boss.
Oh, lordy. Get ready, boy. The devil's way comes. What the hell are you talking about? Only the most difficult and infamous part of the game is coming up right now.
2 green palette swaps ablaze? Surely they can't be all that bad. Oh my god! Stop jumping around and let me hit you. You can't even jump kick them without getting yourself hit. And they keep throwing me around. Ugh, stop! Fuck!
Just hold up on the jump button and you'll land safely on your feet.
So, let me guess. Screen nukes?
You know it.
Jeez. That was hard for all the wrong reasons. No, at least we won't have to deal with them again. Yeah. You just keep saying that. Where the hell did you get that?
Anyway, our heroes now exit the ship onto the loading dock on the other side and enter the Mook factory. So you wanted more stage obstacles, right?
Yeah, but I don't see... Oh. Well, that's something, I guess.
This is probably my least favorite level in the game. It's not all that interesting, and even the music isn't quite up to snuff with the rest of the soundtrack.
So what's the boss this time around?
Well, you know how early Genesis cards were a little tight on memory space?
Yeah, why? Oh, it's just the Wolverines again? What a ripoff. I understand that 8 to 16 megs isn't exactly a lot of space, but come on. They couldn't design another boss? At the very least, couldn't they have changed the Wolverine boss up so it's not literally the exact same thing? Oh well. Level 7.
So you were sick of walking left to right, correct? Well, in this level, our heroes make the ascent to the belly of the beast. You ready, Grasshopper?
Did you just call me a grasshopper? Yeah, whatever. This level's more or less a moot gauntlet. I do like how you can just throw them over the edge. Priceless.
This level may be short, but it really adds a sense of finality to the game, as our heroes rise to see the scope of the city they're fighting for. Level 8.
You know, this hallway really reminds me of Frank D'Amico's apartment from Kick-Ass. It's also kind of cool that the background gradually changes from night to day. It really adds some scope to the plot. You've been fighting throughout the night and only now reach your goal. It's more dramatic than most 16-bit games.
Alright, this is it. Our heroes face their ultimate test, to destroy the parasite that leeches the city. So you know what that means? Obligatory boss rush? You guessed it.
Here come the boomerang pirates.
Screen nuke ho! What the? It's not working!
Well, what do you expect? Cars can't drive inside of buildings.
But they can somehow get onto a ferry? Something's not right here. The game encourages you up to this point to use your screen nukes on the bosses, and then they just suddenly take it away from you. I wouldn't mind if the later bosses weren't so overpowered and hard to hit, but you try hitting these fat fucks from the back. It's kind of a cheap way to make the last level harder.
Well, at least we might have finally made it to the door. Ooh. What the hell's up with you?
No!
can relax now, the worst is over. So, Exo punches down the door and approaches the villainous Mr. X.
That's what Mr. X looks like? I don't know why, but he looks like the sort of character that would be voiced by Mark Hamill. Well, you found your way here. Would you consider becoming my right-hand man? We'll never join you, pig!
Wait, what?
But, Axel, I thought we were friends!
You've been a wonderful puppet, but now you've finally outlived your usefulness. Die, Blaze!
Not without a fight! After working as a team for so long, you part company. Now, a fight to the death! You're no ordinary man. It would be a waste to kill you. Why don't you join my organization?
Sorry, Mr. X, but I'll rule by my own furious iron fist.
You're an evil man. I never would have expected this from you. Die, traitor!
I became the boss.
Aww.
Yeah, folks, there are actually two endings in this game. If both players choose no when Mr. X asks you to join the Syndicate, you'll both fight him.
Alright, you son of... God, he's ripping us to shreds!
Yeah, this game suffers from what I like to call Sonic 2 syndrome. The game is pretty easy and there's relatively little challenge, then suddenly the difficulty spikes tremendously upon reaching the final boss. If you want to make the final boss challenging, that's fine, but challenge should be given in even and progressive increments, not suddenly spike up just for the sake of making the game hard to beat. His gun is so hard to avoid, and the screen just floods with mooks and bullets. And look at how much damage he does to you. How are you supposed to survive?
What? No! Haven't gotten a game over in Streets of Rage in years!
Come on, come on. Yes! I got in the final blow.
Maybe this game isn't so bad after all. Shut up, you!
The ending's basic, but satisfying. The cutscene shows Mr. X's organization crumble to pieces and the police take back what's rightfully theirs. The credits are kinda weird, though. The game was designed by someone named There Is No Accounting for Tastes. What does that mean?
I also love this ending theme. It really wraps up the game in a way that leaves the player feeling satisfied. One of my all-time favorite game endings.
So, final thoughts? What can I say that hasn't been said already?
It's a fantastic game across the board. Its simple but satisfying gameplay, pumping soundtrack, and varied moveset keep me coming back to this game every couple of weeks. It has a high replay nostalgic value for me, and it is no doubt in my top 10 favorite games of all time. A true classic that anybody should try, whichever side of the 16-bit war you're on.
As for me, I had a lot of fun playing this game. At least more than I thought I would. Sure, the gameplay might wear itself out by stage 5, but the varied moveset at least keeps things from getting too tedious. I'd also have to praise the soundtrack, though some tracks are clearly better than others. I still could have sorely used more enemy variety, more bosses, and more stage hazards, and some of the bosses can be really annoying. It's good, simple fun, but would I revisit it as often as Mistertitanic? Probably not. It's definitely worth checking out if you haven't already.
At any rate, I'm ExoParadigmGamer.
Oh, wait a minute. You're not done here, young grasshopper. We still have the sequels to play.
Well, I guess we'll see you guys next time for Streets of Rage 2. And until then, I'm ExoParadigmGamer.
I'm Mistertitanic.
And we hope you enjoyed the review.
Presumably. Presumably.